Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah.
Welcome back to Cram Course, the totally not rip-off show that is not related in any way to any other YouTube channels. It's me, Claire Baker, and welcome back. Today's topic is the French Revolution.
That was last episode.
I knew that. I was just testing you guys. So what is this episode?
Latin American revolutions.
Right. I was just testing you. Way to steal my thunder. Jeez. So, the Latin American revolutions. I was seeing if you guys can read all the title of the YouTube videos there. Everything is a test. Anyhow, since the 1500s, the Spanish and Portuguese controlled the Americas through the encomienda system, which, if you don't remember, shame on you. It was the grants of Native American laborers to Spanish settlers called encomenderos, as well as the caste system, which is a social system putting peninsulares at the top, then Creoles, then mestizos, then at the very bottom, Indians or Africans. Basically, the more Spanish you were, the higher up you were in social hierarchy. The population was about 15 million, which was 1% peninsulares, 23% Creoles, 15% mestizos mulattoes, and 62% Indian African. You may be wondering how this ties back into our revolutionary topic. Well, see friends, Latin American revolutions were caused by four things. The fall of the Spanish Empire, which also ties into the French Revolution, the American Revolution, and the Enlightenment. Dun, dun, dun. First, the fall of the Spanish Empire in 1808. This would be rather important since, the empire controlling the Americans got conquered by Napoleon. Napoleon's brother, Joseph Bonaparte, became the king at that time and took over the American colonies as well. Way to share, Napoleon. The second cause was the American Revolution, because it showed them that they could succeed in overthrowing their mother country. Latin Americans heard of this victory, and the natives saw this as a symbol of hope that authority and laws were being defeated. Finally, the Enlightenment caused ideas of liberty, rights, and government ideals to spread throughout the Americas. Creoles wanted more power because even though they were basically the same as Peninsulares, they were a caste lower due to their American birth. So, in Haiti, a French colony, they began hearing news of revolution and the Declaration of the Rights of Man happening back in Europe. So, they started a revolution of their own in 1791. Toussaint L'Ouverture led the first successful slave revolt in Haiti. They revolted against French control of sugar plantations and colonialism. Basically, they just tried to kick the Frenchies behind.
Language! Not in my PG-rated video.
Fine. In 1801, Napoleon tried to put down the rebellion, and Toussaint is captured and killed after ending the revolution with a treaty to end slavery. But others continue his work, and soon Haiti is a free colony. Haiti was the first free black colony in 1804, and pretty much ever. One of the Haitians claimed that for nearly 3 weeks we could barely distinguish between day and night. For so long as the rebels found anything to feed the flames, they never ceased to burn it. That was deep, guys. Real deep. In northern South America, oh the irony, Simon Bolivar was a Creole who started a revolution against the Spanish government. He had been observing the happenings of the Enlightenment and was inspired by Napoleon taking control of Spain. He led 2 revolts in 1811 against Spain and was exiled, but came back later to help Venezuela, Peru, and Ecuador gain their independence as well. He also gained freedom for Colombia in 1819. Bolivar's idea was to create one large country comprising of Venezuela, Ecuador, and Colombia called the Grand Colombia, of which he was president from 1819 to 1830. This fell apart because of political, regional, and cultural differences between the regions. This leads to civil wars. One dude was like, "We have achieved our independence at the expense of everything else." I mean, it was a good try, Simon. Meanwhile, in southern Latin America, José de San Martin led rebellions against Spain. He fought the Peninsulares war against Napoleon and gathered supporters for the revolution. Martin was a Creole officer who trained with European armies. You have most likely heard of him because he was famous for liberating Argentina, Chile, and Peru. Although he teamed up with Bolivar to liberate Peru, their alliance fell apart because Bolivar liked democratic ideals while Martin favored monarchies. As you see, this was definitely a big problemo, since democracy is all about the people and monarchy is about a king and queen. Now, my dear viewer, you may be asking, Miss Baker, isn't a constitutional monarchy centered around the people? That was my line! great question, and I will start off by saying no. A constitutional monarchy is really about the cabinet. That's right, they're ruled by furniture. My greatest fear has come true. The furniture is taking over, the world ends here. But at least you can sit back in a nice comfy chair.
Claire, stop your fear-mongering. The cabinet is a group of people put together by the Prime Minister, who is the head of this cabinet. The cabinet makes up the executive branch in this type of government. The U.S. actually has a cabinet who advises the president.
Wow.
Monger!
Wow, Stacy with the facts. So, the Prime Minister is chosen and approved by the monarch, who really gets no say in the matter and is really just a figurehead. And the Prime Minister leads the country with help of the chosen cabinet. There is, of course, a constitution, as suggested by the name, which tries to limit the power of the executives. Wow, why does government have to be so complicated? It's more complicated than these Lego instructions, and I can't even follow those. Anyhow, in the end, Spain couldn't handle the rebellions after they regained power from France in 1813, and a lot of the Latin American countries gained independence. Moving on. Mexico was Spain's most populous country in 1810. Miguel Hidalgo, a Mexican priest, gave the speech El Grito de Dolores, which in English means the call of pains. This called the mestizos to arms to fight for liberty and independence, which naturally led to mass killings of peninsulares. But what do you expect from a ragtag group of kids who decided to go killing people? The army was very unorganized and was put down by the Spanish in 1811, and Hidalgo was killed by the firing squad. The next man who decided he didn't like Europe and took control of the revolution was José Morelos. He was a more successful general, and so obviously he survived and lived to write a riveting autobiography.
Actually, Morelos was also defeated in 1815 by Creoles and Spanish forces and was killed by a firing squad, again.
Whatever. I'm done with you, Stacey. I don't need you in my life. Just go. Yes. By 1820, Creoles joined the revolution because they feared losing whatever privileges they had, which they gained in 1821. In 1821, Augustin de Iturbide made himself emperor of Central America, but it's overthrown in 1823, and Central American countries like Honduras, Nicaragua, Guatemala, etc. gained independence. Oh, and don't forget, there was a bloody war in Argentina, Brazil, and Uruguay against Paraguay from 1865 to 1870. It ended with the defeat of Indians in south of Buenos Aires by 1880. Next up we have, we did Chile, Peru, or Argentina, Nicaragua. Stacy?
Already? Wow, you can't survive without me. We're doing the Brazilian Revolution.
Right, obviously. Unlike other revolutions, the Brazilian revolutions had little bloodshed or upheaval. That's good, depending on your view. Napoleon invaded Spain and Portugal in 1807, and King John VI, King of Portugal, fled with his family to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. From there, he ruled Portugal for 14 years. He made better trade laws, opened up British ports, and made farming and mining more popular. He also increased funding for education, military academies, and medical schools. Who wouldn't want him as a ruler? Oh, right, Portugal. Portugal defeated Napoleon in 1815, so King John went back to Portugal and left his son, Dom Pedro, behind to rule Brazil. In 1822, the Creoles of Brazil demanded independence, and thousands petitioned to have Dom Pedro rule the country. And in this year, he declared Brazil's independence from Portugal. Not quite sure that's what Dad wanted, but it's fine. Brazil became the only independent country in South America to freely choose a constitutional monarchy. Dom Pedro II followed up with an experiment of republican government.
Guys, we have your coffee order.
Oh my god, we